I'm going to make your laundry so much better, and it's going to be cheap and relatively easy, and it boils down to chemistry, so favorite this to come back to later. I'm talking whiter whites, less static, making your machine last longer, all the good stuff. And I'm saying this as the former home editor at Reader's Digest, and all I did was study fabric and laundry science like all day long. So let's get into it. We're going to start with whiter laundry. Now you have a couple options, but you want a peroxide-based bleach. I've spoken about this before. There is a big difference between peroxide bleach and chlorine bleach. This is the one I'm using today. It has optical brighteners. I will link everything below. But if you're working on sheets or things that you don't want optical brighteners, this is Vanish. It's also affordable. It's really good. It's another form of a peroxide bleach, an oxygenated bleach. There are lots of brands out there. I'm showing you the ones I like. They're relatively cheap. Those are good. This stuff is chlorine bleach. It will ruin your fabric. It is generally bad. I think it's the devil's work. Get rid of it. If you want to disinfect your floors, God bless, but do not put this in your laundry. Also, it's potentially toxic, and I will get to that in a minute, but just get rid of this stuff for the laundry. Don't use it. If all you have is that peroxide bleach and hot water and a little bit of detergent or soap, you're good to go. But if you really want to turn it up a notch, you want really, really clean laundry, like the most insanely clean laundry of your life, you're going to get a little bit of washing soda. Washing soda is super cheap. I linked that below too. You're going to get a bucket, or if you have a top loader machine, that'll work too. You're going to put a few scoops of that peroxide bleach in, a little bit of soap. You're going to mix it around, and the water has to be hot. And unlike chlorine bleach, the stuff in the jug, that peroxide bleach is actually activated by high temperatures. So you want anywhere from 140 to 200 degrees. You do not want it boiling, but you want it hot, cup of tea hot. And then you're going to let that sit, and it's going to get dirty and milky and weird in the water, and that's good. And if you've never heard of washing soda before, this is going to be the best $5 of your life, maybe $6. Now, I linked it below. It's very cheap. This giant box will last you 4 months, maybe longer than that. You can find it online, but you can also go to a big box store like a Walmart, a Target, whatever, and you'll find it. Why do you even want this? And is it better than baking soda? That's what everybody wants to know. Yeah, it's better than baking soda. It's made by the same people as baking soda, but it is better because it's going to raise your alkalinity even higher. And you need very highly alkaline water to break up all your stains and oils and gross stuff. And once your water is super alkaline, then you can add your detergents, because your detergents are really just a bunch of surfactants and some fragrance and maybe some color, and they're not going to do anything unless your water is alkaline enough for them to actually access the fabric and the fibers. Which brings me to the third way you're going to change the quality of your laundry, and it's not really going to cost you anything. Whatever detergent you pick, whether it has fragrance or color or any of that stuff, it must be clear. It has to be translucent. If you're using anything milky or opaque, you're going to ruin your machine and your fibers. It won't be ruined instantly, but over time, the emulsifiers in those milky formulas will build up residues on your fibers and in your machine, and you will have chaos. It will either break the fibers down, or it will introduce all sorts of perfect breeding grounds for bacteria. You're going to smell so bad. Okay, now we know about the additives and which detergents to use. You're going to take this laundry soup out after it's soaked for 2, 3, 4 hours, sometimes 6. Some of you may even want to do overnight if your laundry is really gnarly. You're going to wring everything out and put it in the wash. You're going to put it on a rinse cycle. Let it just rinse all that junk out. And then you're going to do one regular cycle the way you would with whatever soap that you like, but just a little bit, not too much. Part 4, we are never, ever, ever, okay? Promise me, never, ever using fabric softener. It's going to ruin your materials, and it's going to ruin the inside of your machine. And if you want a whole video on that explaining why, I will happily do that. A lot of people hate it for health reasons. I hate it because it's just bad. Truly, bottom of my heart, those fabric softeners and conditioners are an infinite loop of chaos, because once you start, great, they're good for the first time or two, but then you get buildup of residue. They will flat out ruin your towels. I mean, ruin them, but also the inside of your machine. So what are we even throwing in there? I'm glad you asked. Buckle up, we're getting chemistry science-y again, and this is very important, and I want everyone to really pay attention here, because it's going to change the quality of your laundry, and you're not going to need fabric softeners again. Here's what we're doing. It's super cheap. You are going to do that load, your final rinse. If you've used washing soda, which raises the alkalinity tremendously, you are going to put half a cup of white vinegar, cheap distilled white vinegar, into your fabric softener cup. or tray or whatever your machine looks like. Now, your clothing is not going to stink. You will not smell like salad dressing, but what that does is neutralizes that pH again, which makes your fabric soft, and that's what you want. Another serious warning about chlorine bleach, the stuff in the jug. If you combine it with vinegar or other acids, it's toxic. It'll send you to the hospital if you inhale it, so please don't do that. Again, never use that stuff for your laundry. It's gross, it's terrible, and is potentially toxic. Okay, but back to the vinegar. It also reduces static. Now, after that, everything's been rinsed, you're throwing the stuff in the dryer. You don't want static, right? Right. Final two parts, but they're really kind of one part. When you throw everything in the dryer, you're going to throw it in with wool dryer balls. I will link the ones that I like below, but choose whatever's good for you. And I'm going to put everything in my next free weekly newsletter. That information is here. Final way to promise no static, and it's the easiest thing of all. A lot of that static is going to be created by overheating, especially if you have synthetic materials, polyesters, leggings, fleeces, all of that kind of stuff, super prone to static. But cotton won't get that staticky if you notice, and that's because natural fibers, they hold a little bit of moisture. The synthetics will not hold the moisture, so they will get very staticky and very clingy. After they're in the dryer, you're going to pull them out 5 minutes before the cycle ends, maybe 10. If they feel hot to the touch, static. If they're dry, but like kind of room temperature, maybe slightly warmer, that's it. You're in the perfect zone. You're not getting static. Okay, what are we covering next? The best detergents or my hate of those fragrance beads? Because I can get into that for a minute.